All right. Well, good day, everyone. This is Tom Tansey, and you're tuned into the Cyberguardians Warriors webinar. And so I'm going to be your host and be doing most of the talking today until we get to the end, in which, of course, we're going to open it up to the entire audience to field all sorts of questions and, of course, introduce all of our great program participants as well. So the Cyberguardians program is all about developing skills to build a secure 21st century grid. And so this is a complex topic, and we're going to try to simplify it for you, boil it down as well as we can, so that we can actually get purchase on this very important initiative for our nation. As we get started, let me introduce the SunSpec Alliance. SunSpec is a nonprofit trade alliance. Our mission in life is to establish information standards for distributed energy. We've chosen this particular mission about 11 years ago now on the notion that a more intelligent grid is a more resilient grid. So the other aspect here, of course, is we're all about solar power as well. So it's about greening the environment, making it more distributed, getting more people involved in it, and making a better society overall. As you can see at the bottom there, we have all sorts of different initiatives in and around this topic. Cybersecurity is one of the key ones, of course, in and around application of networking and communication standards. So that's the SunSpec Alliance. You can learn more by going to sunspec.org. Our agenda for today is as follows. So first of all, we're going to answer the question, why veterans in the distributed energy resource industry? So this particular program is aimed at education and aimed at getting veterans enlisted in the cause. So we'll go through the reason for that. Secondly, we want to introduce the Cyberguardians initiative to you as a whole. But in summary, what this is about is distributed energy education to build skills in prospective employees such that they can get matched with jobs in the industry. So pretty simple: develop skills, place people in industry, build the DER industry as a result. Second to last, we'll answer the question about how you can get involved, answer all of your questions in the process. At the outset, I'm going to mute all the microphones. Then we get to towards the end of the session, I will unmute all, and so that we can have a free and open dialogue. I will ask you that if you are not speaking, and if we are in open mic session and you need to go on pause, please do mute yourself. Otherwise, we'll have to mute you. So it's just to appreciate that, so that we can keep the conversation flowing. Okay, so why distributed energy education? The answer all boils down to the distributed energy industry, which we call DER for short, distributed energy resources. We need workers. It's one of the fastest growing sectors of our economy, and we have needs in every job classification, from engineer right on down to installer and every place in between, operations, sales, you name it. And these workers need to be both energy and computing literate. So historically, because this is energy is in the name, a lot of people come to the table with some knowledge of energy, but maybe in that case they wouldn't know about computing, or vice versa. If they've been pulled into the field by virtue of the fact that we are adding more computing and networking, maybe they don't have the energy related skills. But even though there's some of this energy knowledge, in general, we're deficient, just as a society, that this combination of energy and networking literacy is just not where it needs to be. So another key aspect of this educational program is to raise the bar on both energy and computing literacy as it applies to the energy sector. The third reason is that cybersecurity is both complex and absolutely mission critical. Why is it mission critical? Well, the system is getting bigger, it's getting more spread out, has more attack points, and basically many more aspects to lock down and keep safe. If we can keep it safe, we have both a resilient and a highly efficient society, and if we don't, we got problems. So with that as a context, again, why DER? Well, the U.S. power grid is changing and adapting pretty darn rapidly. Economically, solar economics are driving the entire equation. At this point, it's clear that solar, wind, related renewable energy sources are the cheapest, most abundantly available sources of energy on the planet, or available to the planet. Secondly, we have structural needs, specifically in the area of resilience. Today we have a centralized power grid, and it needs to become more distributed, just like our networks, such that if any one part of it has a problem, the rest can keep operating as normal. Third aspect is our technical capabilities have now caught up to the point where we can really fully leverage the idea of a distributed network that is dominated by renewable energy. And those technical capabilities are all encompassed in the U.S. national standard called the IEEE 1547 standard. This is something that governs all distributed energy in the United States, and it was updated in 2018, and for the first time requires data communication as a core requirement for a DER system. So with that comes the responsibility for locking down and securing these connections as well. So that's a little bit of a preview, but then how does this manifest itself in our society? First of all, the grid is getting smarter. And here's an example of rolling storage in the form of electric cars tied up to charging stations that are directly attached to the distribution grid, co-located with solar to at least partially recharge those batteries. And with the promise that in the future, with the fully developed networking capabilities, that even this rolling storage, the cars can be used to support this grid. So smarter, that's a key theme. Secondly, the sources and uses of energy are becoming far more integrated. And this is an example of a dairy farm in Iowa where we have solar that is driving the needs for that dairy farm and directly fulfilling the loads that you may have in this pumping operation or what have you. So it's more integrated, and as you can tell, it's not a West Coast, East Coast thing. It's for the heartland and every other part of the country. Third is this idea of resilience. So resilience, I think, is very much in focus now as we face this global pandemic with the coronavirus. We can really see that we need to build in resilience so that we can isolate sectors of our society, sectors of our grid, and so forth, and keep the parts going that need to keep going. And this is an example of a power station, a substation in New York with grid-tied batteries. So this is yet a third application, as you can see, where significant know-how and significant opportunity for workers comes into play. So resilience is a key theme. The fourth aspect of the changing power grid is it's becoming increasingly local. So although I'd like to take credit for discovering the fact that the grid needs to be more resilient, of course it precedes this statement by, of course, many years at this point. So when I say that power is becoming more local, these initiatives like community choice aggregation is largely replacing what used to be supplied by the local utility. So this is where a local community, city or state, in this case, Orlando, Florida, citizens of that community got together, decided they wanted renewable power, built the power plant. Now the grid, because of changing regulations at the state level, they need to take that power, and because the citizens want it, so now you can have nice green power that's generated in your locale. So yet another example of great opportunities for workers in this field. And then the final aspect that I would like to highlight here, and really it's the subject of this initiative, is the fact that this energy is far more communicative than it's ever been. I mentioned the IEEE 1547 standard mandates this two-way communication flow. This is an absolute game changer for the industry, where we have two-way information flow to and from all of these different sources. And this last picture that I point out here, this is Texas. So you have a combined solar and wind field. And so the picture that you should see is it's just distributed, it's smarter, it's communicative, and it's all over the nation. So this is where the jobs are. Speaking of jobs, in 2019, we finished just shy of 250,000 jobs in the sector. And I think we came up short by about 50 jobs. So it's actually 249,950. Now this information regarding the job, this comes from a source provided by the Solar Foundation. This is the 2019 Solar Jobs Census. So in that particular case, as you'll see, the projections are for about 270,000 jobs in the sector for 2020. Your mileage may vary given current conditions, but suffice it to say that the growth is robust in the distributed energy sector. That is not going to change now. In fact, if anything, it's going to be accelerated as we get yet another example of how we really wish that we had local control over our powers to deal with contingencies that will come up. So this is how it's changing, and we're seeing it changed, and so are the bad guys. And so let's talk about these bad guys. You know, they're interested in controlling the power grid. It's definitely a nice target. If somebody wanted to go after the U.S., it's kind of an obvious target. You know, on the other hand, that's maybe isn't exactly the objective from an adversary. Adversaries typically, what we've been learning is they want to cause chaos. Perhaps they would like to get to economic diminution of our country and our way of life. I mean, so these are the threats that we face. Fortunately, again, we have great attributes at our disposal here. The fact that the system is distributed, and the fact that we have a cadre of people that are highly interested in keeping this grid going and building it in a way that makes sense for all. So it's a big, complex problem, and fortunately, we have the luxury of being advised about what the issues are through SunSpec's partnership with Sandia National Labs. So we started a cybersecurity work group with Sandia several years ago. It all kicked off with this initial roadmap document that was produced by Sandia and contributed to by the SunSpec Alliance, that laid out all the different aspects of security that are required in this field, and how to go about embedding security throughout the entire supply chain. So if you're interested in that, you can go to that you see below and get information both about the cybersecurity working group, or join it if you like. So what I'm saying here is that we're both informed by this roadmap, the work group continues, and so we have access to these experts that can provide us with the up-to-date education that the industry needs to make this whole system work. So that's a wind-up, and as the introduction to CyberGuardian. So that's what you're here for. The CyberGuardians program, it is a 3-year program sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy. We have as our partners the armed forces, of course, that are producing veterans with skills in software and data, cybersecurity. Our core partners on this team, SunSpec Alliance is the prime contractor, NABCEP, the National Association of Board Certified Energy Providers. They are also a key partner here in terms of helping us to define what skills are needed, also in the job placement. We have Key2 Systems, a software provider of DER communication protocols and cybersecurity experts, and the University of California, San Diego, who is our anchor educational partner to provide online education. So the whole idea here is we get military veterans and others that want to be informed and skilled in these fields that are required for the jobs. We put them through the process of training them. We end up with the trained job force, and we back this up with a job matching service that will lead directly to job placement and military veterans into the field. Bottom line is a more secure grid. So that is it in a nutshell. A few more details. As I mentioned, it's a 3-year program, and it's about skills development and job training. It is tailored to the skills and needs of military veterans. So when we put the program together, we were looking at military occupational specialties that closely align with the needs that we have here, so that we'll be able to compile and correspond the educational progress that military veterans have made, either through their service or in other training that they've taken in the process of being enlisted. Add to that specialized training in this field, and we then offer all this up online. So again, irrespective of where that veteran may be in any of the 50 states or anywhere else around the world, you're able to take the training. The program is supported by the GI Bill, so we are offering the courses through accredited institutions, UC San Diego being the primary one offering the online training. And certainly during this introductory period, we're going to be having all sorts of incentives for veterans to enlist. And so you can expect that this is going to be a very competitive program, easy to access for the motivated students, and supported by the U.S. government to help pay for it all. And then finally, we have these education institutions that are backing us up. You'll hear more about that in a minute. And even more importantly, we have a series of employers that operate globally. They operate in certain states, regions, or locales, or maybe in your own home community that are ready to hire people with the right skills. So we're not concentrating in any one particular geographic area. Really, the point here is to meet workers where they live. And as you can see that the solar and distributed energy business, it really is everywhere. So this is a distinct possibility. And so we want to match that reality with the way that we go about conducting our affairs in Cyberguardians. Cyberguardians programs objectives. So first of all, we want to build an online comprehensive curriculum so that our audience is informed and gains literacy in smart DERs. But so what is smart DER? It's a distributed energy resource that can operate autonomously and can also take signaling that's coming in from afar and it operates in a secure way. So we are building online courses that will comprise a total of 27 academic units. They'll be offered in various ways. We're building an academic support system to dispense this education. At fruition, we'll have 2 anchor universities, UCSD +1, and then community colleges and vocational centers throughout the country that adopt our curriculum and either offer it online or have the potential to turn this into face-to-face classes or a hybrid class where you have a combination of in-class instruction combined with online materials. So it's very flexible in that way and built as such. We're building a veteran support system. And to that end, we've enlisted quite a number of veterans organizations and media outlet centers. So, for example, we have Bunker Labs, the National Veterans Foundation. We have the Veterans News Report, the U.S. Veterans Magazine, and University of California, San Diego Veterans Affairs Department, the Atlantic Council are just some of these veteran support resources that we have available. So the point of this part of the initiative is, of course, to reach veterans, but then as these veterans go about their educational journey and their job-seeking journey, as they have questions, they need mentoring, not sure what they want to do job-wise, if they should go left, they should go right. Well, these veteran support groups are there to help provide that type of guidance. So another key aspect. So we put the system in place, and then we train students. Over a 3-year period of time, our objective is to have more than 600 students pass through the CyberGuardians curriculum and gain these valuable skills that allow you to get jobs. And finally, our obligation to the Department of Energy and to you as constituents in this program is to place applicants in jobs throughout the country. And we have some really great resources for doing that, as you'll see. But before we get down to that, one question that we're often asked is, where are the jobs and how are these jobs organized? And to reiterate, as I will, the jobs are all throughout the country. If you want to see a specific map of where you can find the highest concentrations of jobs, which states are growing in distributed energy jobs, which jobs are staying flat, etc., I encourage you to go to the link that you see below. This is a solar foundation. This is a link to the 10th annual solar job census, and it provides all those sorts of details for you. I've extracted some statistics here just to highlight where these jobs are. So as a breakdown, about 2/3 of all the jobs that are available in distributed energy, of which solar is part, and also energy storage is part, in even some cases, wind might be part of this as well. But 2/3 of them are involved in the installation and project development. By installation, we mean like literally putting panels up on racks. Project development, of course, is multifaceted, can involve land use issues, can involve technical issues and design issues. Of course, it involves a lot of finance issues and so forth. So high concentration of jobs there. Majority of the blue-collar jobs you'll find are in that sector there. There are plenty of other jobs in this country as well, though. In the manufacturing sector, 14%. O&M, this is a sector that I believe is going to be growing pretty significant. So you can expect that this will grow probably 40–50% over the next several years as the fleet is aging, and the name of the game is really switching from getting the equipment in the ground quickly to making it run reliably all the time. So lots of interesting jobs there. Wholesale trade and distribution, this often gets overlooked, but most of the equipment actually flows through a distribution channel. So 12% of the total jobs there. And then you have all the others. And so these can be a lot of the engineering jobs, the technical product management jobs, the jobs that deal with the introduction of new techniques and new technology into the field. And so this all other space, which represents, I think, some of the highest value jobs as well, it represents the leverage on the industry overall. And I think is one place in this all other category where the CyberGuardians program can have a really big impact. It's not to say that we don't have something for every other field, because we do, but I just wanted to highlight that particular area of technological innovation is something that we think that this program is good for. So there's the composition of jobs. And what the industry tells us is that it's hard to fill these positions. And when they are filled, what you can see here, 2/3 of the positions are newly created. Well, that indicates a strong sector growth. It also indicates that the skills that are required to build these systems are changing. So they're newly created. So if you come into the field, you can expect that you'll very quickly be in a leadership position because it's a new field. And therefore, it's very exciting. I mean, this is what certainly has attracted me and others in the Alliance to go after the sector and be in it, is it's a very dynamic field. So there's a lot of job satisfaction that comes along with that. So the next biggest sector of jobs here is actually replacing workers due to turnover and retirement. And this is an opportunity. It also represents, I think, a major exposure for the U.S. Most of our utility workers in the technical fields in particular, the engineering fields in particular, but overall, it's an aging population. It's all approaching 60 years old. So we need to retool that particular sector and get to new, fresh talent into it. So that's also another opportunity. And then the third opportunity here about, where are people coming from to get placed in these new jobs is from existing employees that have certain skills that now need to add additional skills so they can go do a new, typically more responsible job. So that represents about 6% of the mix. So again, there's something for everybody, irrespective of where you are in your career journey, whether you're just starting out or you're mid-span or you're really trying to get to the top of your field. So all those are available to you in the solar business. So the solar census asks, why are these jobs so hard to fill? I think this provides the core rationale for the Cyberguardians program, is where you can find here really in the first three items, lack of experience, training, or technical knowledge. Now, and this is an interesting one in our experience, because what we find is that quite often prospective employers will come to the table with about half of the skills that they need to do the job, and they'll have those down pat. If you're in logistics, we find great project managers. Electrical engineering, we can find great electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, operations managers, technicians in the field. Usually, by virtue of the fact that this industry's been around for a while, and the fact that we have one of the leading educational environments in the world, we have good basic skills. Applying those to the solar field, or the distributed energy field, battery storage field, that has been the kicker here. And it's a new field, and so it's not too surprising that lack of experience training would be an issue. The second and third are also symptomatic of the fact that there is a gap here. The competition or small applicant pool. Well, this is what this says in terms of the small applicant pool and competition is that, within the cyber realm specifically, the solar distributed energy field is competing with every other field, and so people aren't familiar with the energy field, and so therefore fewer of them apply to this. So our notion is, if they knew more, they had more of these basic skills, the applicant pool would increase, and of course the skills would be better. And then the third item here, lack of industry specific knowledge. And frankly, even more than lack of industry specific knowledge, lack of a basic vocabulary to describe some of these energy problems is what we've noticed. From there's a long list of others, but those three items really point to why education is needed for this field. Now, if you are a job applicant, you may be wondering, I hope you're wondering, so what are the most difficult to fill? Because usually most difficult to fill means the most competitive and quite often best wages, at least for the class. Sales, marketing, customer service. This was kind of a surprising finding to me, that this becomes the key issue. So there's a lot of talk in distributed energy about soft costs being very high. Well, I think a lot of that soft cost comes into customer acquisition, helping the customer understand how they can get to yes and so forth. that highlights why we have a problem in sales and marketing. Management, directors, supervisors, yes, that makes sense. Electricians and construction workers, those with good work ethics, they can show up on time and have the basic skills required. Again, very high up on the list of jobs to be filled. As you saw, it's about 2/3 of them anyway. And then we have engineers, tech support, etc. So, and this is where the hardcore cyber skills comes into play, but also in operations and business development. Again, significant software and energy literacy skills required to operate effectively here. And there's more. So again, go to the solar census if you want to learn more about that. All right, so how are we going to bridge this gap? Well, we start off by defining a curriculum that is aligned to the needs of the market. And so we've broken our initiative down into 3 tracks. There's a technical professional, which we call it the engineering track, an operational track. So this is for people that run power plants and perhaps run supply chains and things of that nature. And then we have a vocational track, people that are actually building systems in the field. And you may ask, well, what does a construction worker have to do with cybersecurity? Well, the answer has everything to do with cybersecurity, because if the equipment going in is not installed properly and operating properly by the time that the system is fully commissioned, well, you don't have a safe system. So there are significant considerations at the vocational level, and so we'll cover those topics as well. Now, our objective here for the first year of this program is to complete everything down to the dotted line there. So the 2 courses that you see here at the top, these are both designated as 3-unit courses, and you'll be able to get them for academic credit or for NABCEP credit. We believe that these are foundational to all the different professions, and so that's a total of 6 academic credit units. That's DER in the electrical grid and DER cybersecurity. So these are foundation courses of which everything else is based on. And then we have a series of 1-unit courses. So for a total of 27 hourly units that go into the particulars for each of the professions. Now, is this all set in stone? Absolutely not. Are we executing to our first year objectives? That part is clear. So one of the things we hope to do here as we get rolling is get that feedback loop going. So as things change and maybe we need different skills because there's different requirements for different jobs, we'll be able to adapt to that. But here in a nutshell is what you see coming up for our curriculum. Now, one question I see up here in the chat is that, will you get the slides? And the answer to that is yes, you'll absolutely get the slides. And so no problem with that. Furthermore, we'd love to talk to you, get you involved in the program. Okay, so we have this educational curriculum developed now. So how does this work? How does the accreditation work? How does the student interact with it, and the like? So as you can see, starting from the left, so we have the curriculum that was depicted available to you. It'll be coming out in phases, of course. We have our partners, UC San Diego and NABCEP, that are able to provide you with either academic credit or vocational credit to address a variety of different needs. In fact, even continuing education credit is another form of credit you can get besides the academic and the vocational. So that's the accrediting organization. All the curriculum is offered through this online learning platform and offered directly to the students. Along with that, we are recruiting vocational training centers, community colleges to develop instructor and mentor networks. And so if you're located in, let's say, the greater Chicagoland, you'll be able to go to your local community college, take the courses online, and get your mentoring, get your lab time from a local community college instructor. Same thing if you're in Texas or North Carolina, Montana, you name it. So that really is the point, is to offer the curriculum online You can have your complete experience be online, or if you wanted to combine this with lab work, or if you have other work that you need to take care of at community college or for your institution, you can certainly do that, and go through your educational process on the road to getting the job in the industry. So that's how it all starts. And so I've collapsed that, and that's what you see in the upper left-hand corner. So as individuals start to gain skills by having taken one or more courses through this program, what they can do, actually can do that even, well, as of April 15th, you'll be able to connect with the Cyberguardians Career Center. This is an online portal that will be available both through the SunSpec website and through the NABCEP website, such that you can connect yourself to jobs that are available. So you'll be able to post your resume and see job opportunities. Our responsibility in this program is to bring employers to the party here. We have about 120 member companies now and counting. These are some of the largest global companies involved in power conversion. All have significant hiring needs, and all were very supportive when we went after this DOE funding. So we have that as our core group of hiring companies, and of course there's utilities as well, and others that we'll bring into the fold. So we're certainly not limiting this to SunSpec membership, but we do have a sort of a captive audience there with express needs, so we'll go there first, but we invite all to come and take part. So there you go. These are the two most important aspects if you are a information seeker, education seeker, or a job seeker. These are the two components that you should pay most attention to in Cyberguardians. So what's our schedule? Our first courses will be available in summer 2020 at the UCSD Extension. The job matching program, we're shooting to get that up and running on April 15th, 2020. In fact, you can go to jobs.nabcep.org now and you can see what's available there. You'll see more of the Cyberguardians language and some of the customizations that we'll be doing there later, but even now we have job matching taking place. And so if you are in one of these categories where you need education or you need a job, please come check us out. At this point, I would like to unmute the microphone and introduce our partners and speakers here, partners and participants. Okay, so let's see here. Let me make sure I got the unmute button going. Great, I think it's all working. So let's start off and introduce our partners and advisors. First of all, Dr. Svet Madic. So Svet, please say hello and say a few words.
Hi everyone. Thanks for inviting us to this great webinar, and we are really excited to be partners with SunSpec and NABCEP and Kitu and everyone in this program, especially because, as you know, we in San Diego have a lot of veterans, and this is just a great program for us. It's just in line what we do, and we are hoping to make it a great success.
Great, thank you, Svet. Next up, we have the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners. And if you've been looking for a job in the solar field, you'll recognize NABCEP. This is a credentialing agency that you see most of the leading companies that are involved in solar installation have one or more NABCEP certified professionals on their staff. They're represented by their CEO, Sean O'Brien and Dan Piquel. So Sean or Dan, if you could say a few words.
Sean, you on? I know you've been having some connectivity issues. All right, so my name is Dan Piquel. I'm the Director of Certification at NABCEP. I want to thank you all for joining us first. It's a really exciting project we're working on with SunSpec and all the other partners, getting funded through the Department of Energy. We're really excited to get more veterans into the field of distributed energy resources. We think we have a pretty winning strategy, so we're just happy to work with all these folks and all of you, hopefully. So thank you.
Great, appreciate it, Dan. Next up, Gordon Lum of Key2 Systems. Gordon, I don't know if you were able to join or not. He's been on a pretty aggressive schedule here. Hey, Gordon, if you're there, please say hello to us. Okay, looks like.
I saw him earlier, but I saw him leave also.
All right, very good. All right, and then last but not least, I want to introduce the Cyberguardians advisors. So this is our board advisory firm. So first of all, I want to list the individuals on the advisory group and ask you to say a few words. So we have Bud Pierce, who is in the Kansas area and operates in Arkansas and Midwest. He has a solar company. He's a veteran and master electrician. We have David Earhart, who's Vice President of Engineering for STEM. So STEM is an organization that sells and operates DER systems. They're probably most known for their energy storage solutions, one of the biggest in the business. And again, another key hirer. We have Tom Eichhorn out of Texas. He is a solar trainer and is involved in the solar and wind industry. He was previously associated with Solar Ready Vets at Tidewater Community College. We have Bob Soldier, another military veteran, operating. He is also in the Midwest. I asked him where he's doing most of his work. He said San Francisco Bay Area, but then also Arkansas, Iowa, and Illinois. So he operates a firm called Solar Design Studio, engineering and consulting. Has also done work across Europe as well. Next up, we have Jeff Bosch. He's is an engineer with an organization called Outback Power. They are now part of a larger organization called EnerSys, and they manufacture power conversion systems. He has previously taught at the University of Washington on embedded systems. What he told me his motivation for getting involved is that he's noticed that the Outback network and Outback products from inception have been almost continuously hacked. So he worked his way into a job to see if he can close off some of those holes. And he just felt that really securing the grid is important. They have hiring needs, but equally important, just keeping the grid safe. Next up, we have Nate Diamond, similar position to Jeff. He works for a company called Doosan. And what Doosan is similarly situated as a manufacturer. They make energy management systems. Nate runs a team of 5 people to building this type of platform. So they do optimization, forecasting, market integration with NEM and ERCOT and so forth. And when I asked him why he was interested in what hiring difficulties he said, well, 2 or 3 main ones. Technical product management, so getting people that are literate in energy and automation. Application field engineering, another key job that he would like to fulfill. And then last but not least, we have Nikola Milivojevic. I'm sure I butchered his name. He's out of Colorado for a company called Pumping Drive, solar water pumping, pond management, dairy farms, off-grid applications. So great diversity of different manufacturers and installers and different interest groups and so forth. So taking it from the top here, Bud, are you in line? And if you are, please say hello to us. Okay. Next we'll go on. David.
Hi, thanks a lot, Tom. Great presentation. Very excited to be part of this. As Tom mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Engineering at a company called STEM. We're just a little bit south of San Francisco. We operate hundreds and hundreds of distributed energy resources, mainly in the form of large battery systems. Some of them are integrated with solar, and some also offer backup and microgrid capabilities. I've been with the company for about 11 years since it was started, and have seen how difficult it can be to hire across the board all of these different categories that were mentioned. And as we continue to expand and grow, we are moving into different states. Right now, we're all through California, Hawaii. We have moved into a little bit of Texas. We're doing a lot of work in the Northeast, and work in Ontario as well. And there's certainly a need for more installers that have a good cross-section of energy storage information and knowledge and communications. And we can't stress enough that this is really important for the cybersecurity aspect, because as these assets grow, they're going to just be more tempting for people to do things such as deny usage, or even hold them hostage for payment, kind of like they do with people's computers. So very excited to be part of this. I'm not a vet. My father was in the Korea War. My grandfather was in World War I, II, and Korea. And my brother lives in Japan at Iwakuni at the base there, and is a teacher. And my mom worked for the military for about 30 years in the military intelligence. Anyway, very excited. I hope I get to participate and do some hands-on mentoring and so forth. Thanks a lot.
Great, thank you, David. So, do we have any of our other advisors that would like to say a word? So, Tom, Bob, Jeff, Nate, Nicola. All right.
This is Nate. I just want to say I'm very excited about this project. One of the things that we found is getting people excited and interested and educated about security and the problem, and even those that know about security, extending them to the energy space, is a full-time job practically in and of itself. So we are super excited to have this method of getting the industry as a whole more security minded and security focused, and are excited to also be able to hire and source more veterans. We've had quite a few at our company in the past, a lot of Navy folk, and so we're excited to have more of an opportunity. Thanks.
Yeah, that's really a great point. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Bob Solger from Kansas City area. I actually was honored to be asked to participate as an advisor. I've been in the solar business for 18 plus years. We've had a lot of success in hiring veterans over the years. What a veteran, of course, brings to the party, so to put it, is being motivated, self-directed, and can get the job done, and do in a quality, disciplined manner. So we're very excited about sharing our experiences that we've had with the greater group going forward. So thanks for the opportunity, and looking forward to working with y'all.
Betcha. Thank you. All right. Any of our other advisors available? Okay. Well, if not, we're going to have another chance here, because we're going to have the, again, open mic here. So how can you get involved? If you're a veteran, education, or a job seeker, if you're a non-veteran, education or job seeker, DER industry hiring manager, you're a veterans outreach organization, you're a prospective instructor, you want to teach and mentor. If you're in a community college or in your vocational training center, if you want to get involved, we ask in each case, email SunSpec Cyberguardians, and we'll definitely connect you with the right folks and get this program going. The portal for the initiative is coming up. You'll see more about that. By virtue of being on this call, you're going to learn about it firsthand. We'll be sure to get you involved. And with that, I would like to open up the microphone and see if we have any questions or comments. And I'll start off with one. Steven Shepard says that he's been trying to basically get back into the field and discovered that ageism is a problem, and that's probably a societal problem. But I can guarantee you that at least from the hiring managers that I've mentioned, they're interested in skills and can do. One of the graphs that I was tempted to put in here, but actually didn't, that you'll find in the solar census goes into this issue about, how inclusive is this industry and how accepting is it? And what I'm very happy to report is that in general, it seems to be very accepting because it's growing fast. So it needs all the help it can get. But other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I wanted to ask if the panel can respond to recent moves by the IBEW to take over the installation responsibilities for renewable energy systems as opposed to just using NABCEP certified workers.
That sounds like a Dan Piquel question.
Hey, Sean, are you on the line for this one? I know that Sean has been working the board, and we've been working with certain affiliates of the IBEW to address some of these concerns.
Dan, I'm on. Yeah. So yeah, that is a position the board is looking into and taking up. Unfortunately, with the coronavirus, we had to cancel or postpone and reschedule our conference for July. So that was something that the board would take up at that time during that board meeting. But we are looking at ways to work with the IBEW in some way and to make sure at least we're involved in the conversation regarding, IBEW members, if they are going to get into the solar space and work in that area, that they are trained, because a position being, at this point, that NABCEP just wants to make sure that folks are trained properly and can do the work in a safe and effective way.
This is Bob Folger from Kansas City. I've worked with the local IBEW organization over the years and actually got them, helped them launch their training program 10 plus years ago, their internal training program. I've worked with a number of contractors from the local IBEW, the hall. They've always brought a good bunch of folks into various projects, more in the commercial space. I've worked with a number of merit shops or non-union shops over the years that have wanted to get into solar. And the point being that there's plenty of opportunity for everybody to participate, depending upon what they want to do and how they want to go about it. Now that NABCEP's part of the mix, it gives everyone a common platform to comply with in terms of the services that they would deliver. So what I've learned over the years is we're all in this together, and we can collaborate to actually grow a market. So that's my parting word in terms of collaboration and going forward.
Yeah, and Bob, this is Sean again. I can tell you that there's a half dozen or more, maybe upwards of 8 or 10 of the Alliance training centers with the IBEW that are actually registered with their trainings are registered with NABCEP, so that the folks who complete those can get at least at a minimum the NABCEP PV associate credential, which gets them on the way on a path to build their professional certification.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that. Another one of the folks put in the chat line, what do you anticipate the cost will be for the courses? Well, so this program is designed to be self-sustaining after the initial DOE funding period. During the DOE funding period, though, we're going to be doing all sorts of creative things to make sure that this is approachable. So, including offering scholarships. So, don't let the cost get in your way of learning more about this. As I mentioned, one thing is that we have the DOE funding during the program period, and then of course we have the GI Bill. Now, there is an administrative hurdle that we need to go through to link all these different funding sources together. But as I said, you can count on the GI Bill and the fact that we're going to be very aggressive here in making sure that people are coming into the program and getting good use of it and come out of it being strong advocates for Cyber Guardians, because it's going to take a team, and that means that we need everybody on our side. So appreciate that.
Hey, Tom, this is Dan with NABCEP.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to speak to that really quickly. The effort for this project and a couple other projects we're working with, NABCEP recently submitted applications through the New York State Department of Veteran Affairs to have all of our certifications and credentials approved, which means once we get that approval, anyone that is taking these courses on the pathway to getting certified would have all of the courses and the certification costs paid for through the GI Bill. So, like Tom said, there are some administrative hurdles to link all of our programs together and bundle some of the costs together so that it makes it easier, and folks that are coming out of the service are able to access those funds. But we're already a good chunk of the way down the road to making that happen.
Great, appreciate that. All right, well, we're approaching the top of the hour, so we got time for one more question, and I think I see one coming in here. And our questioner asked us, I am not a veteran, and I'm wondering if there are hands-on training in installing PV systems. Thank you. Okay, well, you come to the right place, because NABCEP, that's what they do all day, every day, is treat people or teach people how to install PV systems. So that's why we're not taking that on as part of our curriculum. We're adding the new stuff have to do with the cybersecurity and networking. But if you want hands-on training for PV systems, talk to the NABCEP folks. And NABCEP.org is, I think, the way you can get to them. All right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Excellent. Excellent. So with that, I want to thank everybody for their contributions here this morning. I see that Eric Galante of NABCEP put the NABCEP link in the chat box, so you can get it there. As I mentioned, if you showed up today, you'll be receiving a copy of these slides, and we welcome any of your inquiries, any of your questions after the fact. Email cyberguardians@sunspec.org or email me personally, tom@sunspec.org. We'll be very happy to address any questions or concerns that you may have. Thank you so much. Stay safe, and looking forward to having you join and participate in the Cyber Guardians program. Thanks again. Bye for now.
Thanks, Tom. Great.
Thank you, Tom.
Gotcha.